back, everyone. This is the final flow for our workshop. It is a jump board class, and obviously we're using the box because this is outside the Pilates box workshop. And let's take a look at the setup today. Clearly, you're going to need your jump board. Make sure it's nice and secure. We're going to keep our box on the reformer. It's in front of the shoulder rest. You're going to need some dumbbells. These are 10-pounders. You can clearly go lighter or heavy. Listen to your own body. Do what works best for you. I am going to do the first half of this flow on one green spring, and then there's a secondary flow that we're going to change the springs to, and the risers. So I have my risers about mid-level, so you could go up or down. There is a hamstring curl at the end that it does make it, you keep tension in the rope and you feel the work just a little bit more if you keep the risers lower. So we're going to do that. And my rope length, just so you can see, is the long loop comes all the way to the shoulder rest. So anytime you're doing strap work with my classes and it feels too heavy, it could be that your ropes are shorter than mine. So with all that said, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start seated. And like I said, we are on one heavy spring on my reformer. That is a green. And I'm going to go ahead and come on down. And you're going to take your weights and just kind of bring them next to you. You can bring them onto the ground if you would like. It's probably easier just to set them one on each side so that you can easily grab them. When they're on the carriage, they sometimes fall off, so it's a little easier this way. All right, we're going to start seated like this. So I'm going to press my elbows into the box and hollow out my armpits. So I feel that the pecs and the lats really start to switch on. It's also going to help me sit upright. All right, I'm going to start in Pilates V, and I'm just going to practice an easy jump. Now, if you feel like, I just did that a little bit, that I'm too much like this, if I scoop my butt forward just a little bit, I'm going to be able to go into what I call a Pilates scoop. So I'm going to cinch, it's like a micro scoop. Think about cinching the ribs to the hips and hollowing out that low tummy. It's going to allow me to keep, that's so much better, my legs lifted. If I don't have my pelvis scooped around the tops of my femurs, I can't do that. So before I was seated like this, and I wasn't able to keep the legs lifted. So I scooted my butt away from the box just a little bit, pressing my elbows into the box, and I'm maintaining this scoop. So I'm hollowing out that low tummy, and I'm going to start jumping right here like this. It's a nice little warm up. I do about 10. Now remember, I talked about layering my cues. So first, I just want people to start moving. I get them in the setup, start moving. Now I'm going to talk about inhale, lift, exhale, return. It's a nice long jump. Think about toning the tops of your legs, squeezing the inseams of your leggings together as you do so. Just like that. So first, we do 2 rounds. The first round is without any weights. Then the second round, if you want to add a weight, you can add a weight. You can do 1 or 2. It is totally up to you. We're here like this. So if you add the weights, you might have to scoot your butt away from the box even more so you can maintain that scoop, okay? So we're here like this. Just practice reaching and landing. Reach and land. Lifting from that pelvic floor. I'm resisting with those lats, the muscles under my shoulder blades as the elbows come back down. Now, anytime you add weights, your heart rate is going to get up. You're going to be a little bit more out of breath. Whoo! Just like that. And I do 10 of those. I typically repeat that twice. So if you watch the class, the full length class, I did it without the weights, with the weights, and I did it one more time without the weights, with the weights. Now, we're going to go into a single leg jump. So I'm going to pick the left leg first, okay? So right here like this, I'm going to draw the shoulders down, maintaining the scoop as much as possible, and I'm jumping right here, toning the top of that left leg. We're working the left leg first in this flow. All right, so I do 10 here. I tone the leg. I lift from the pelvic floor. I'm maintaining that shoulder girdle connection, meaning my shoulders are not in my ears. I do 10 like that. Now, we're going to move from here. So now from here, I'm going to turn to the side. My weight is right there because I'm going to use it in just a second. You can either be on your hands or your elbows. I let my clients decide. We do a little test run. I let them try both ways. So my hands are here and my jumping leg is on the jump board. Draw the shoulders down, abs are tight. Even if you're on the elbows, you still have to connect that core. Practice the jump. I give them a little practice and I say, okay, if you want to come down to that elbow, try the elbow. It's totally up to you. Both work. I feel like as a teacher, when I'm demonstrating, I like to be up here because I feel like I can see a little bit better. Now, as you work, you want to think about toning this glute as you jump and the top of the leg. So that leg is nice and strong. I do 10 right here. I bring it in, then I offer the opportunity if you want to add a weight. We're going to add the weight right here like this. All right, with the weight, here we go. We do 10. Practice without lifting the weight first, just feeling the weight, the weight weighing you down. If this is too much at this point, ditch the weight altogether. If you feel comfortable, we're going to reach it up, resist with those lats as it comes down. Reach it up and resist. I promise you, you're only going to be able to handle 10. It's a lot of work. Whoo! So good. Now, as you're jumping, it's really important that that shoulder girdle stay connected. We're not here like this. This bottom side of the body has to stay connected and lifted. We don't want to be here like this because then this is going to start flapping around. You have to stay strong underneath. The base of the body has to stay strong so that we can support the work of the weighted arm. Okay. All right. Now we're going to turn this way here like this. This time when we go to the back jumps, we're not going to use the weight at all. So my hands are going to be here or I'm going to come down onto my forearms. It's totally up to you. Either position that you pick, you want to draw the shoulders down. I hollow out the armpits. I feel a little bit of pec, mostly lat right there. Abdominals are drawn in to support the back and we just practice a jump. Oh, sidebar, when you have your weight here like this, you don't want it this way because when the carriage moves, the weight might fall off the box. So you want to make sure that it's secure. You can either bring it here, you can even bring it down to the headrest. Actually, I think I'm going to bring it down to the headrest now that I think about it. All right, draw the shoulders down, lengthen the back of the neck, practice the jump. Now, if you feel you want to come here, you can come here. My carriage knee is against the box. It's going to give me a little bit more grounding, a little bit more stability. If you want to add a kick, we add a kick. It's important that the kicking leg is not causing the low back to sway too much. To prevent that, I think about drawing the abdominals in to support that low back. It is such a good burn. Whew! I love jump forward. All right, you really can't mess that up, though I do see clients doing this all the time. So that shoulder girdle connection, I cannot stress it enough how important it is. And drawing the abdominals in to support that back is equally as important. All right, so from here, we're going to come up this way like this. So we're going to continue to work this side of the body. It's my left side of the body. It's the side closest to my front door right now. All right, so I'm going to take the strap. I'm going to take the shorter loop because I want it to be just a little bit heavier. And I'm going to bring it over my knee like this. Now, typically, when I teach this, normally I do it with a medium and a light instead of one heavy. Medium and a light does feel a little bit heavier, but we're working this leg so much, I promise you, it is going to feel heavy enough. And sometimes it ruins the flow. You have to reach back and change the springs too many times. So it works, trust me. So I'm going to come down. We have 3 variations with this side clam. Now, I don't want to drop the underside of the body. That bottom waistline, I want to lift it up. So this is my setup. I'm lifting the ribs up so I'm in a nice long diagonal. There's no sway. My forearm is on the box and that armpit is hollow. You can bring your hand on your hip if you would like. Now, maintaining this nice long spine, I'm just going to pull and return. I'm going to inhale as I pull. I'm layering on my cues. Exhale, return. Switch on the glute as you pull. Now keep it active and tight as it returns. Pull. Now fight the tension. Don't let the springs pull you back in. Feel the tension as you pull. Now fight the tension as it comes back in. I do 10 right here like this. Again, not twisting, maintaining this nice, strong, stable spine. Now I'm going to extend the leg. I'm going to flex the foot. Go ahead and grab the weight. This is optional. Hold it right here. Now, before I add the weight, just going to practice the leg movement like this, keeping the foot the same height as the hip. Now, as I sweep back, I'm going to reach the arm up, just like that. Inhale as you sweep and reach. Exhale as it comes back in. Muscle engagement cue is next. Switch on the glute as you sweep. Resist with the lats as the elbow comes back down. Inhale, reach. Exhale, contract the core. That core should tighten. Even though this isn't necessarily an abdominal exercise, that core is tight. That core is still tightening on every single exercise. Remember, it's the powerhouse. It's where everything stems from, is that core. All right, we do 10 like that. Now we're going to ditch the weight, and I'm going to turn away from the camera. I'm going to come onto all fours on my box like this. Now, I'm going to have my fingertips facing out and my thumbs are going to be facing in on this box like this. Take a look at your strap, see if it's wiggled down. You might want to hike it up just a bit. Now, I'm going to extend my leg back. I'm going to hold it right here. I'm going to make giant rainbows. So I'm going to sweep towards the jump board, take it up and over towards the risers. It doesn't go too low. Sweep it up and over. Obviously, really feeling those glutes. I feel the sweeping leg glute, but I also really feel the stabilizing legs glute. Now, that core, you're going to feel those obliques fighting the leg. So when I sweep this way, I feel the right obliques. When I resist it coming back, I feel my left obliques. Moving right here like this, really feeling that leg. Bring the strap back in. Now, you're going to keep the strap over your knee. We're going to turn this way here like this, bringing my hands down to the carriage. Roll the shoulders back, abs are tight. The strap is still over my knee. I'm going to take the leg up. The strap is going to kind of wiggle just a little bit. Really round the booty. Now, hips are as square as possible. I'm going to take it up and up. Simple movement. It's not a big range of movement, but I definitely feel that left booty. Now, if you have a client who cannot keep tension because they're they're shorter than me, if you lower that riser all the way down to the anchor, you're going to feel it more. So I do 10 right here. Now, if I want to, I can add a side sweep as well. Right there, like that. Stabilizing in the standing leg as much as possible. Really feeling that work. Whoo! And then you ditch the strap. Right there, like that. All right, from here, I catch my breath. We have some fun stuff coming up right here. So we're going to do a leg floor press. I'm going to stay on the same springs, and I need both of my weights. So I'm going to pull both of my weights out, and I'm going to place them on the carriage like that so that they're easy to grab. The working leg is my left leg still, so it's important that you continue to work the same leg. So I'm going to come down like this. The working leg is going to stay on the carriage, which is my left leg. So now it's the leg closest to my pink wall. That is going to stay on the carriage, and I'm going to take the other leg, bring it down onto the floor. Soften the standing knee. This is my setup. Roll the shoulders back, draw those abdominals in to support that low back. Hands are going to come onto the jump board. I'm going to practice pressing it out, resisting it closing. Pressing it out, resist. Inhale as you press, exhale as you return. Now think about switching on the pressing legs glute as you power it out, resisting it coming back in. I typically do 10 with my hands down like this, just so that everyone can feel the movement. They know where they're standing so they're not scraping their legs with the springs. Now we pick up these weights, and we're going to do this for 30 seconds. Remember, weights are always optional. The closer your foot is to the jump board on the floor, the lighter it's going to feel. So you might want to shimmy around a little bit. Soften the standing knee. Before we start the time, we practice it. So as I press it back, I alternate hammer curls right here. Look at my standing leg. It's nice and soft. I'm going to be much more balanced and stable in a slightly bent leg than a straight leg. Now, think about nose, knees, and toes. So I'm slightly pitched forward, long spine. Once we're there, once everyone feels comfortable, We time it for 30 seconds. Powering it out, resisting it closing. Power out, resist. The beauty is both legs are really working. That is a lot of work. All right, so next we go into let's see, it is power pops. Sorry. All right, power pops. So you're going to bring the weights together like this. You squat down low. Now you're going to come out of the knee bend, push the carriage back, extend the arms up, bring it back down. Now, if it's too heavy, you scoot your floor foot forward just a little bit. So start low. Everything powers out. Out and in. Out and in. Ditch the weights. If you want to go to one weight like this works too. Do what works best for you. Now you want to draw those abs in tight. So when you push away, you're not swaying in the low back too much. I call this power pops because both legs, lots of power. Power up, resist. Power up, resist. Whew. Now I'm going to ditch this weight right here like this. I'm going to bring my hands onto the top of the jump board, and I'm going to stand into my hands, hop this foot up. Now we're just going to hop back down. The work is in the standing leg. So the leg closest to my pink wall is still that same working leg. So you push the carriage out, glide it in, push it out, glide it in, push it out and in. There is no missing the work. I'm maintaining a nice strong frame in my upper body. So the upper body is not moving. Those armpits are hollow. I'm pressing firmly into the heels of my hands into that jump board. Woo! And in. One more thing, and then we go to the other side. So now we're going to turn this way. I'm going to grab this weight. I've got my weight right here like this. All right, so I'm actually going to turn to face you, but keep in mind you would face away. I just want you to be able to see me, okay? So we're going to stay here like this. Just practice pressing it out, resisting it, closing, pressing it out. Now I'd be facing the other way, working the other leg. You switch on the glute as you press, resist it, closing. Now, if you want to add some work, roll the shoulders back, abs are tight. Remember, we're layering on the challenge. You don't have to do the weight if you don't want to. As I press, I pull. Resist as it comes in. Press and pull. Resist. Press and pull. Resist. Whew, 30 seconds is what we would do right here. Then, keeping the same pattern from the presses, the power presses, we go into the power pop. So everything starts low. Press everything out, resist. Press everything out, resist. Switch on both glutes as you fire. Resist with those lats as you come in. That core needs to be nice and tight. 30 seconds here. Whew, even though I'm eliminating most of the reps, talking through it does make you tired. But your heart, you see I'm out of breath? And I'm only doing half of it. So your heart rate really gets up there. It's a fun, explosive flow. Definitely one of my favorites. I usually do something like this whenever we do a holiday class, New Year's or Christmas. Sometimes clients just love to come, burn tons of calories so they can feel guilt-free later. Not that I am supporting that thought of burning calories so you can treat yourself later. But let's face it, that's how people think. And so it is a really fun class, a high energy class for both myself and my clients. So basically, I would start all over again and do the other leg. Remember, I turned around this way just so that you could see me. So we would have finished there. So you're working one leg at a time. You would start all the way over from the single leg jumps right here. So we would start over here and do these jumps right here like this. You don't necessarily have to do both. You don't have to do the two legs, the 2 feet jumps if you don't want to. It just depends on how much time you have. So we would do it all over on the other side. Now there's a part 2 to this flow. So after you finish the other side, we'd set up the reformer for part 2. So let me walk you through part 2. we're going to go down to the lightest spring that you have. My reformer, that's a yellow spring, and it's called a half spring. So I'm going to go down to that half spring and take these weights off. Now I'm going to bring my box all the way against this the foot bar frame right there like that. Bring it all the way up there. I take one hand, I push into the box as I pull this part out like this. Again, we're going to work one side of the body at a time. Pick up those weights. You get them situated here like this. We actually don't need the straps at all for this part of the flow, so I'm just going to take those off, because don't you hate it when you're doing stuff and you can hear the straps flapping around? But since we don't need them, we don't have to deal with that. All right, so the weights are going to come right here. We're going to work this leg, my left leg, the leg closest to my pink wall first, okay? So that when I turn this way, you'll still be able to see me. Okay, so first thing that we're going to do is we're going to find our balance. We're going to come up. We have some arm work to do. And I repeat this set twice. So we're going to do one on this side, one on the other side. So you can kind of make up what you want to do. I like to do bicep curls and overhead press. And then maybe round two, I'll do a combination of the two. So from here, my feet are about shoulders distance apart. Draw the shoulders down, lift from the pelvic floor, slight squeeze in the glutes so this doesn't happen. So I want to think about drawing the ribs to the hips slightly, drawing those abdominals in. That's going to prevent me swaying in my low back too much, okay? So a bicep curl right here like this. And I typically do 10. As I'm doing this, I talk about not letting the weight move my body around like that. That trunk has to stay nice and stable so the arm, all of the work goes to those biceps. I do 10 here. And then I do an overhead press for 10, resisting with those lats as it comes down. Inhale, reaching it up. Exhale, resisting. 10 here. Now, we have a really fun exercise next. Okay, so are you ready? So this is a complex combination, and I've said before, I don't like my clients standing around watching. I do let them watch this one rep because it is a bit complicated. Gives them just a little bit of a break. It's only going to take about 5 to 10 seconds to do. So here's my complex combination. You're going to start with the weights low like this. I'm going to fire them up. Take them all the way down, ditch the weights right here like this. Now I'm going to bring my hands onto the box, come to a flamingo, pause, kick to the front door, across the reformer, kick back, and then I'm going to go into a tricep push-up, bring the carriage back under, find that shoulder rest again with the left foot, the leg closest to my pink wall, and I fire it up. I do this for 45 seconds. 30 seconds is not nearly long enough. I bring the shoulders over the hands, find my flamingo, pause, kick across the reformer, kick back, tricep push up, return the foot, bring it home, and then we fire it up. It is so much fun. Now, if this is too much, I tell people just come to a plank, maybe do a push up, and then maybe replace the foot, bring it back in. Let them pick. It's amazing. Clients naturally will do what works best for them. As long as they're not doing something that's going to hurt their form, I'm totally fine with it. I kick back, abdominals are tight. I take it down, whoo, bring it back in, and fire it up. It's one of my favorite combinations to do. I love it. All right, from here, we're going to go into a plank series. So we're going to start to feel the arms and the waistline just a little bit more. So from here, hands, my fingertips are going to be facing the box. In fact, if you want to ditch the weights right here, you can definitely ditch the weights so that they're not in your way. So I'm going to find a tuck position. My fingertips are facing the jump bar. I'm going to shift my weight over my hands. Armpits are hollow, abdominals are drawn in. This is my setup, okay? Now I'm going to take my knees and toes and turn them away. So I'm turning them towards my front door, away from my pink wall. Shift your weight into the back hand, the hand closest to the pink wall, and I'm going to press the carriage out. I'm going to press it back in. Just practice that movement. Now, inhale, open, exhale, close. Now, I'm going to inhale, open, keeping my weight in the back hand. I'm going to cinch this rib to my hip and draw it in. Inhale, open, press into the back hand, cinch the rib to the hip so you feel that bottom waist slide working. Now, if I also think about squeezing the inner thighs together, helps trigger the inner thighs, but also trigger the pelvic floor. So you're going to have a little bit more pelvic floor lift as you bring it in. I do about 6 to 8 like that. Now we're going to go into a thread the needle. So I'm going to take my back hand, bring it to the center of the box. That's a transition right there. And now I'm going to inhale. I'm going to reach everything up. And now I'm going to keep the legs straight, pike the hips up, reach the hand through. Keeping the shoulder over your hand. I'm going to reach everything up. Legs stay long here. Pike the hips, lift the hips, and bring it through. Again, keeping the shoulder over the hand. Great big inhale as I open. Now think about wringing those abdominals out like a sponge as it comes through. One more like that. Keeping your shoulder over your hand. Lift the hips, cinch the ribs to the hips, rotate and wring those abs out. Now, variation 3, change your hands. So now my fingers are to the outsides of the box. My thumbs are pointed in. Okay, I'm going to come a little closer to the box. I'm going to start with my leg, the leg closest to the box. I'm going to extend it back. This is the setup. Okay, now from here, as the carriage opens, this leg is going to kick through and the hips drop. Lift the hips, draw the carriage under, extend the leg back. Push the carriage away as the leg kicks through. It passes through flamingo. Drop the hip. Lift the hips and the leg passes through as the carriage closes. I typically don't go much faster than this. If you press into the hand closest to the jump board, more than the hand closest to the carriage, right here, really press into that back hand, you're going to feel that waistline big time. Whew, it's a lot of work. We have more work coming up right here. This right here, my friends, is a serious leg burn. It's one of my favorites. Whenever I'm in the mood for a serious leg burn, this is where I go, right here. And the beauty is you can put it into a jump board class like this one. You can put it anywhere. All right, so starting this way, still working this leg, because remember we said we're working one leg at a time. So I want you to bring your shoulders, hips, knees, and toes. Everything is square with the wall in front of you right here like this. We're not going to come to here. Everything is here. Reach down, fingertips to the box. Let the carriage open. Okay, now let the carriage come all the way in. You're going to stand up to the box just to here. Like that. We're going to go straight back down like this. Open the carriage. Bring the carriage all the way in so that your foot is underneath the hip, then come up. Now, we're not going to touch the box anymore, okay? So that was just kind of a practice. Now, as you lunge, you're going to take it down. Nose, knees, and toes. Bring the carriage in and step it up. I typically do sets of 8 to 10 right here. You want to make sure this knee is tracking over those toes. It's not coming in. Bring the carriage all the way in and up. It's not that bad. If people don't like standing up, they can simply do the lunge to here like that. But most people are able to handle the step up, and it's just here. You could come to a flamingo if you really wanted to, but I think this is just fine too. The flamingo just adds a little bit more balance, not necessarily more work like that. All right, now we turn this way here like this. This is my favorite. This is a leg burner. It doesn't look nearly as hard as it is. This is why we only have to do one set of 10 on both sides, okay? All right, so from here, fingertips are touching the box to start. Hips and shoulders are now square with this wall here like this, okay? So we're going to open the carriage. Let the carriage come home. Bring your hands to the jump board. Stay in that bent knee, and you come up. Now, adding to the challenge, this time as you lunge, reach your hands up. You're going to feel a stretch right there. With a long spine, hinge forward, fingertips to the jump board, let the carriage close and lift. Maintain that long spine throughout the entire exercise. You're really feeling the work in that left leg now. It is real. It is shaking. Do we love it? Woo! It's my favorite. All right, so that takes you all the way to the end of this flow. So to finish part 2 of this flow, you collect your weights again, and we would start with the standing arm work. This time I like to, on the second set, do a combination. So I would do a bicep curl, overhead press, 10 total. Then this foot would come here and we'd go right into that mega burpee combination. So I hope you liked it. I think this is a good example of working one side of the body at a time. Individually, these exercises, they're still tough, but if you just did one set of 10 of say the jumps, and then you did some arm work, and then you did something else, it wouldn't be nearly as taxing. But because we put it all together, that leg is on fire. Like I said, when we were doing the clams, we did it on one heavy spring. Typically, I do it on 2 springs, a medium and a light, which is slightly heavier. And it works great, but that would be too much in this flow because you've worked that left leg so much to that point that 1 green is plenty. So it really, when you stack all of those exercises together, it takes simple movements and makes them sizzle just a little bit more, adds a little bit heat when you stack them together like that. If you did the left leg jumps, then right leg jumps, and then did the left leg clam, and then right leg clam, it's a lot of changing the equipment around, switching straps, switching directions, but also you're not keeping that steady burn happening. So I like to really work into the fatigue a little bit, especially when I'm doing a HIIT class like this. So that's just my view on things. And I know the beauty of the importance of letting the muscles recover too, but it's not like we're lifting really, really heavy weight either. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and watch the next video so you can see the demonstration of me teaching this flow.